Hey folks, thank you for stopping by. This message is brought to you by yours truly, Daniel Morrow, creator of EliteClarity.com for all of your business financing needs, and thatphonesitesguy.com, your resident phone sites affiliate representative. I hope you enjoy this message, and I'll see you on the other side. Cheers. What's happening, world? Welcome to another edition of Finance Friday. Hard to believe we're at the end of another week. You know what I mean there, Jelly Bean? Seems like the older we get, the faster time goes by. Like time just flies. Everything just flies. It's absolutely weird. I remember a day where it felt like a week was an eternity. Now it feels like a week is a minute. All right. So let's get down to it. I appreciate your time. Appreciate you dropping by. Trying out a different screen recorder app. I think I used to use this one before in my earlier videos about marketing. The camera just seems to be a little bit better. Just you can see more of me, not like a little bubble around my face. So I wanted to increase the camera view a bit here for you guys. See how this helps. How to get financing within 48 hours. That's what we're discussing today, right? Let's face it, as a business owner, when we need cash now, right? Sure, sometimes some people plan a couple weeks or a month ahead, and then they understand that stuff takes time, and they give themselves adequate time to go through the process. And then there's other times where we just don't plan. I'm guilty of it. I'm not a good planner sometimes. I'll be the first to admit it. Other times, stuff just happens seemingly overnight, and there's not much we can do. Our back's up against the wall, and we got to figure something out, right? It can be very challenging, to say the least. So, financing within 48 hours. There are a few different ways to get quick cash within 48 hours, whether it's same day, next day, 2 days down the road. Now, you can go to online vendors, right? There's a ton of them where you just put in your information online. They approve you and they fund you, and they call it line of credit and stuff like that. It's not a true line of credit. Tends to be very expensive, and you don't get a lot of service and you don't get a lot of support because it's just a web form, and you're giving them access to your bank account if you're approved to deposit money. And, usually before, there's not a lot of underwriting, not a lot of due diligence that goes into it. There's more risk to the lenders. So chances are you're going to be paying for it, right? Let's face it. Nobody wants to pay more than they have to, right? So there's two types of unsecured financing that you can get within 48 hours, right? Yep. So let's get this centered here. So, two types for quick funds, right? You got your line of credit, and you got your alternative financing. They both have a place, and they're both short-term solutions, right? I've talked about this many times, where a line of credit is not designed for you to be carrying a large running balance, right? They're not designed to be maxed out and carried forward. They're designed to be cycled through really quick. The application process could take up to 48 hours. It could take up to 48 hours to get finalized and everything. And then another 48 hours to get the funds in your account. Up to 48 hours. It really depends on how you choose to make the withdrawal, right? Whether you're doing an ACH or a wire transfer or whatever, right? So there's that. And then there's the alternative financing, which, it's a one and done, right? You get approved, you accept it, everything goes fine in final underwriting, money's in your account, you're making payments, that's it, right? There is not a lot of flexibility in those, but they are powerful and they are very useful, right? So here's the thing. Documentation. And since I can't make things like bold and stuff, must be in order, right? Can't emphasize that enough. If documentation is messy, if it's not a clean file, if there's a lack of communication between your loan officer and you, things can get pretty messy, right? And they can be a headache. So you as the business owner, you want to make sure that your documentation is in order, right? You want to make sure it's clean. You want to make sure that you have everything, you're all ready to go, right? You don't want to be that guy where it's going to happen. We all miss stuff. But you don't want to be that guy who's like missing one or two documents and it's holding the whole process up for hours or days, right? Not doing you any favors, not doing us any favors, because we're spending our time chasing you. I shouldn't say wasting our time, but sometimes it feels like we're wasting our time chasing people, right? It's just the name of the game. We all go through it. We all go through it with our clients and stuff, right? So there's that. The documentation is pretty much the same. It's more or less the same for each program, right? 6 months bank statements, 12 months if you're seasonal, right? You're going to want to see a history of the bank account. What else do I need? 6 months merchant statements, merchant processing, right? So if you're restaurant, hospitality, anybody who collects credit cards, right? Online merchants, e-com stores, I could go on for a while. You're going to want to make sure you have at least 6 months of your merchant statements as well. And again, 12 months if seasonal, right? Pretty straightforward, pretty simple, pretty cut and dry, right? Now, what else goes into this? If it's applicable, say that because sometimes people haven't been in a business a year and they need money, right? So if it's applicable, you want to make sure your most recent tax return is handy. Well, I want a little bit of insight in what happened last year, right? Are you projected to have an increase in revenue this year? Or are you declining in revenue this year? Which is going to say, there's the business, the financials might be under some sort of duress. And duress is a red flag, a warning sign for lenders, right? So there's little things like that. Void check ID for all owners, right? That is huge. That's a big one, right? It's all big ones. But you want to have that stuff ready, right? A lot of times the tax return, the void check, and the ID, a lot of that's not, sometimes you're not necessarily going to need that until it's time to request the agreement. I can't talk. You don't really necessarily need that until it's time to request an agreement, right? Then they're going to want to see that kind of stuff, which is okay. I suggest submitting it up front, right? Because here's the thing. When you get the call and when you get the call, not the funding call, when you get the call before that, where it's like, hey, we might be able to do this for you. Here's kind of what you're looking at. You want to get the contract and the agreement and go into final underwriting. That stuff needs to be submitted at time of final underwriting, right? So if the loan officer has it all ready to go, doesn't matter if you're on a flight, where you are, what's going on. You don't need to worry about making arrangements, holding up the file, holding up the processing, right? It's already there. It just gets submitted. Things just go that much smoother. Right? Organization is key. I can't stress that enough. Organization is key. That is a big one, right? And it really falls back into documentation must be in order. Maybe I should have said organization is key instead. But you want to make sure that you're organized, right? You want to have all this stuff ready to go. We're only talking about these two programs, so there's really nothing else that needs to get covered there. That's all the documentation up front, right? Throughout the process, especially in final underwriting. They may request, well, the tax return covers proof of ownership and a lot of the stuff they may need. They might want business licenses, right? Here, potentials. So things that they might ask for in final underwriting are things like proof of ownership. Like I said, tax return should cover that. Business license, payment schedule for tax liens, judgments, tax liens. If there's any sort of liens on the company, they're going to want to see some sort of a payment schedule. They're going to want to know you're taking care of it. It's not always a deal breaker to have liens on the company, right? Although it can be. So you want to make sure that you have a payment schedule. Depending on the loan amount, maybe you can get that waived. I say maybe. There are certain lenders. We do have a relationship with certain lenders where stuff like that, we might be able to get it wrapped into the loan to get that squared off for you, right? As part of the loan. It does happen. I have seen it happen. It's just not that common, right? So those are a couple things there those are a few things to look for, a few things to consider. And that's really what it comes down to on documentation, right? So let's go here. Let's go requirements, right? Time in business, 6 to 12 months. Right? If you're in business under 6 months, there's not going to be a lot of options and you're going to be charged out the nose for them, right? You're going to be like charging you out your nose, right? Ideally, over 12 months in business is huge, right? Lenders want to see that you've been around. The longer you're in business, the less risk there is, right? Borrowing history, it plays a part, but it's not everything. Like if you're trying to get a line of credit and you don't have a lot of borrowing history, you don't have a lot of experience with loans, chances are you're not going to get a line of credit or you're not going to get a very good one, right? Same on alternative financing. Borrowing history will play a part. You'll get more favorable terms, but I mean, it is what it is, right? Time of business, borrowing history, not a must, but it helps, right? You want to be looking at minimum monthly revenue of $15,000 to $20,000, right? A general rule of thumb on alternative financing, and I say general because it depends on your cash flow, right? A general rule of thumb is lenders will go 100 to 115% of your monthly revenue, right? So if you're making $20,000 a month, get 23,000 somewhere in there, right? Maybe. Bank deposits. $10 to $15 a month. And that's not to say that if you have less deposits than that you won't get financed. But the more the better, right? The more deposits you have, chances are the more clients that you have, the more customers. The more customers, the more spread out your risk is, right? If you only have 2 or 3 clients, 2 or 3 customers, your risk concentration is going to be very high. Whereas if you lose 1 or 2 of those clients, the chances of you being able to repay back the loan it drops exponentially, right? And lenders don't want to see that. they don't want to be seeing that you could be having risk paying it back. So you want to make sure you have a lot of clients, 10 to 15. Some lenders, I mean, realistically, it's like 6, but who wants to do the bare minimum, right? You didn't become a business owner. You didn't get into business to be average and do the bare minimum. If that's what you're doing, get out, go. But if you're like most people I know, you're trying to exceed that by far. So congratulations. Happy to have you here on the video. Thank you for tuning in, sir, madam. Thank you for tuning in to Daniel's Finance Friday show. I was trying to be silly with that. I kind of lost what I was going to say there. But 6 to 12 months in business, right? You want to establish borrowing history. If not, we got to start getting that going. You want to be looking at $15,000 to $20,000 about the revenue, 10 to 15 plus deposits a month. I should add to that term loans. I don't know. I hate it when I do that. Sometimes term loans can be done within 48 hours as well. It really depends. Again, the documentation really doesn't change too much. For a line of credit or term loan, basically you want to be a bare minimum of $25,000 to $30,000 in monthly revenue, 15 plus monthly deposits. Right, I get it. Some spaces, I mean, roofers, electricians, contractors, general contractors, construction trades. It's generally a bit of a higher ticket size and fewer deposits. I mean, there's always gray area, right? I'm not trying to leave you guys out in the cold or cast you out, but it's the kind of stuff that they're going to want. And really, that's about it. You want to be looking at across the board. You want to be looking at a 600 plus FICO, right? For alternative, 650 plus FICO for a line of credit, 630 plus, I can't type today, guys, 630 plus for a term, right? Little to no late payments. Right? Less than 4 negative days. And less than 4 NSF fees a month. Right? Most of us know what NSF fees are. They suck. You don't have enough money in your account. Checks bounce. So they don't want to see you bounce checks. Please don't be that guy. I get it though. It happens sometimes. In a perfect world. And negative days, right? So what is a negative day? That's basically overdraft, right? You don't want to be running a negative balance, right, in your bank account. Other than that, it's pretty simple. I'm pretty sure I covered pretty much everything for you guys. So if you meet the requirements, right, if you meet the minimum requirements, what you want to do, meet the minimum requirements over there on the right-hand side. Can't see my hand. Over there on the right-hand side. Meet the minimum requirements. Then you want to get your documentation over here on the left in order, right? And then you want to find a loan officer or a company that you trust, that you feel comfortable giving this stuff to and going through the process. Right now, here's the thing. Not all loans are created equal. Not all lenders are created equal. They have their benefits. They have their strengths. They have their weaknesses, right? Just because you get declined at a bank or you get declined at one lender doesn't necessarily mean it's the end of the world, right? You can have up to 5 credit hits for the same loan type within a month, 5 within a month, and it counts as 1 credit hit, right? So what that means is if you're applying for a loan, and if you're applying for a line of credit, for example, or alternative term loan, whatever, you can have 5 credit pulls within a 30-day period. It will count as 1 hit on your credit. That's it. Pretty simple, so you don't have to worry about it. But here's the thing. With us, we are a marketplace lender, right? We've got access to tons of lenders for every program. We got programs outside of this too. SBA loans, equipment loans, all of that kind of stuff, right? Those getting done in 48 hours isn't going to happen, so we're not talking about that here. So being a marketplace lender, the thing with us, and we have tons of testimonials, tons of reviews and stuff online, is if a deal is fundable, right? If it is a fundable deal, if it is a financeable deal, we will get you offers, right? Not every business fits into every lender's guidelines. So it's a matter of matching your business and where you are to the appropriate lenders to get the approvals. And that's where the magic is, right? If you're just going to, say, Bank of America or Scotiabank or RBC or whatever, right? If you're just going there and you get declined, like, the banks are very stringent. They have strict rules, strict requirements. And a lot of people will go there, they'll try one alternative lender, and then they'll go, oh, that's it. I'm doomed, right? It's hopeless. It's not happening for me. I am not eligible anywhere. And I get it. It hurts. It bites, right? But that's where going with a broker that knows what they're doing comes in. Yeah, we're wrong sometimes. We're human. There's going to be some declines sometimes. But the thing is get the offer. So being a marketplace lender and having access to pools of finance companies, what that means is not only, like, if it's a fundable deal, not only can we get you financing, but it also gives us some power and some leeway to negotiate, right? And our promise to you is to get you into the best program possible for your situation. That's our promise to you. That's our guarantee. If you have a fundable deal, we will get you into the best program possible for where you are. And not only that, we will coach you. We will advise you on what you need to do to position yourself better over the next 3 to 6 months, 12 months, whatever, in order to qualify for other stuff, better stuff, right? So you're not alone. You're not alone. You have us. We're an extension of your team. That's how we position ourselves. That's how we want to be. That's what I got, guys. You can find my contact information. Chances are you're going to find it down below, depending on where you're watching this. If you're seeing this on YouTube, which you probably are, the contact information is down below. Click that link. You can get in touch with me. You can book a call, get on my calendar. You can get started by filling out one of the online forms that I have, one of the online questionnaires, so I can assist you and guide you. That's how you get financing within 48 hours. Smash that like button. Let me know in the comment section if you have any questions or concerns. Share this with somebody who needs to hear it. And I look forward to seeing you guys. We're hearing from you sometime in the near future. Cheers. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to spend some time and tune into this message. If you enjoyed this, please show some love with a like, share, or by leaving a comment review wherever you happen to be tuning in. Don't forget to join us on the Facebook group, Business Owners and Entrepreneurs Network, and head on over to eliteclarity.com to check out our financing options. Cheers.